A transgender woman is suing the female-only social media platform Giggle for Girls and its creator after she was kicked off the app. Tickle is claiming discrimination on the grounds of gender identity. It means that the court case has the unlikely and somewhat light-hearted title of Tickle versus Giggle, but it belies the seriousness of the case, which could be an important test of the Sex Discrimination Act in Australia. Reporter Alison Shao is there. Alison, can you take us through what this case is about?
Well, Rachel, this is the first time that a case alleging gender identity discrimination is being heard by the federal court, and today is the beginning of a 4-day hearing where transgender woman Tickle is suing the female-only social media platform Giggle for Girls and its creator Sally Grover after she was barred from using that app in 2021. So the chain of events we know from written submissions to the court. Lawyers for Ms Tickle say she uploaded a selfie and was granted access to the app, but when she logged on a few months later, she found her access had been revoked. And lawyers for Giggle for Girls, which is the female-only app, say this was done after the app CEO, Sally Grover, looked at the photo and considered Ms Tickle male by her appearance in that photo. So the federal court in this hearing will really be testing the claims that Ms Tickle was treated less favourably than a cisgender woman and that this amounts to a breach of the Sex Discrimination Act.
And what's been heard so far this morning?
This morning in court, Justice Robert Bromwich heard opening statements from both parties. So Ms Tickle's lawyer, Georgina Costello, began opening submissions by saying that her client is a woman and that the app and Ms Grover are opposing and denying that fact. And she's arguing that the legal precedent is that sex and gender aren't just binary categories of woman and man, but that a person can change from one to another. Ms Tickle is arguing that she's been discriminated and excluded on the basis of her gender identity under the Sex Discrimination Act because of her transgender identity, the fact that she is a transgender woman. And then we heard from Ms Grover's representative, Bridie Nolan, who said that the creator had been motivated to start this app to create a safe space for women and that her client had no idea that males could be considered female when she created this female-only environment. And so representatives from the Australian Human Rights Commission are also in attendance for this hearing, providing assistance to the court about the meaning and the scope of the Sex Discrimination Act legislation. And in this case, Ms Tickle is seeking aggravated damages, and she's arguing that she suffered significant distress and hurt and humiliation, and this has been made worse by Sally Grover's refusal to apologise.
And it sounds, Alison, like there's some vocal supporters outside the court as well.
Absolutely, Rachel. There's been dozens of protesters outside the court. It's generated a lot of attention. There was a group of anti-trans demonstrators and another group of counter-protesters, and there was actually some heckling between the two groups as well. And Justice Bromwich inside the court began the hearing by expressing that he appreciates that this is the sort of case that can trigger strong emotions and strongly held views, but warned against anyone outside the court from intimidating or harassing people walking in, saying that they might be breaking the law. He said that everyone needs to behave with civility despite the emotions that are involved. I spoke to some of the protesters who were outside the court this morning, and this is what some of them had to say.
So what's being tested is, can a woman say no to a man who enters a female-only space?
We're here to counter-protest these so-claimed feminists who are really just transphobes, who are gathered out here, who are motivated by this case, who are motivated to show up and just call for awful things. So we're just here to rally for, trans healthcare, trans rights.
Alison Shao with that report.